Yeah, I was last episode. We were being taken over by some sort of demon.
You like that, huh?
Uh, I'm gonna have to get. I'm gonna have to go do some PT here and get exercise. Bad joke, I know.
No, no. All right. So, if you guys want to go ahead and recall last week, uh, just so we could get back on track. I know where we're at, but I just want to make sure you guys
Yeah.
know.
Well, we descended into the depths of this tomb of whoever it was. I don't remember the
Crisis of calm.
Bryce, Cullen. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
We after we got in there, we explored one room that had four uh, ghosts or ghouls or ghasts or goblin or something spooky.
They were guests.
Yeah,
Specters.
ghasts, specters. Yeah,
That's
Specters.
nice.
something semi-transparent.
Yeah.
And then okay, we got them where we killed them. Found the entrance into Bruce's uh, tomb. Sorry, earphone slash mic come off. And opened up the tomb. This demon came out. Or
It was a wraith. But
no,
yeah.
it was a wraith. A demon, some sort of ghost. And we found a magical sword or sword hilt that turned into a sword.
And now you're possessed.
And now, yes, and in the meantime, a demon came out of the sword too, and quote unquote possessed me.
Well, I wouldn't call it a possession.
Well, yeah,
More like a parasite.
Okay.
Yeah,
Still,
because
just as bad.
it's not controlling you. But yeah, you're.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go find some sort of high-level cleric and get it exercised.
So what happened was it was telling you it called to you guys into the tomb when the cave that you guys hid from the rocks, and that cave, there was an earthquake and the cave caved in, totally blocking the entrance, but it revealed the other entrance to the tomb. And you didn't know it was there until you guys heard a voice calling to you guys, asking for help because it's been in the dark for so long. In the end, it turned out to be a shadow demon that inhabited the sword, and the sword uh, offered to help you guys uh, beat the wraith, Bryce's. But
Right.
Chris did all of his divine powers all at once and just totally annihilated the Bryce's. And I think a few times Leonardo was close to death. Is that right?
No.
You weren't
Yeah.
you weren't jacked up. You didn't you
Oh
did.
yes, I am. 34.7, 45.
Okay.
Yeah, you're close.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So.
I have 11 left.
But didn't Chris, didn't you heal him before we left or no?
I healed him before we came in here because he had taken damage from something else.
Oh, the specters, and then he took more damage from the wraith.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we ended the game when you destroyed the wraith, Bryce's. But now the battle is ended. You don't have any more presence of undead inside this area, but you guys are still trapped. Looking around, while you were in there, you didn't find another exit except for the way you came in, and there's still the cave-in. But you're not done completely exploring or investigating these chambers.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're sure there's more treasures inside the tombs, or the main sarcophagus. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, since sarcophaguses and high priests and kings and stuff are usually buried with treasure, and definitely this sword is a treasure. I said the sarcophagus might have some sort of hidden latch or hidden
Chamber?
chamber within it that might have more in it, or the walls might have some sort of secret doors.
Oh, I'm about to sneeze again.
Okay.
Okay, so well, as you're investigating, go ahead and investigate. Roll.
I was going to investigate the sarcophagus
Yeah.
since I'm right there. And roll an investigation. That's +4. Hey, that'd be 24.
All right. So you don't find any hidden compartments inside of the sarcophagus. However, the when you pried loose the top of the sarcophagus, you did realize that it was covered in a thin gold sheeting that if you did some work to try to get it off, it's like the details of the top of the sarcophagus. It's like
Right.
a thin gold lining, plating, all the way across the thing that it's decorated with. You could pry it off, and it might damage the gold, but you know that if you
Gold can
smelt
always
it,
be reforged.
yeah, exactly. So do you want to take the time to get that stuff off?
Sure. I'll
Okay.
grab a dagger and pry some of it off, and if I can, just fold it into a
Square.
however piece. Yeah, like you do a piece of paper. Okay, this way and this way. Gold's fairly malleable.
Okay, so
If you're staying as thin as it is, it
I'll-
might fold.
altogether you assess that it is worth 250 gold.
Ooh,
And then
nice hefty piece.
on the bottom of where the feet is, there is a treasure chest. And as you check that out, you were looking for traps and stuff on that as well.
Yes.
You already made a successful investigation, right?
Well, I made an investigate. Yeah, to see if it was there.
Yeah. So you don't find any traps on the chest, and as you try to slowly open it, you discover it's not locked. So when you open it up,
Uh-oh.
you find the treasures that Bryce's took with her into the afterlife. So there's 4,000 silver pieces,
Oh.
1,200 gold pieces,
Hmm.
11 zircons worth 50 gold each. I'll give you time to write this stuff down, you guys.
2 zircons.
11 zircons.
And how much? 50?
11 zircons worth 50 gold each.
This is on top of the treasure you told us, told us about last week, right?
Yes, correct. Because you already checked the other sarcophaguses where the specters came out
Right.
of.
We had a
Yeah.
couple of bracelets, a wand.
Yeah, if you need details on that, because I don't know if you got it all either. I'll
We
Well,
got
I got what I was I was
we got
looking
a
at my
gold
and a
fencer.
walking stick.
Okay.
I got the ewer and a walking stick.
And then there's also a necklace, and Leonardo, if you want to check it out, you also find a couple of things, but you want to roll Arcana or?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
I'm plus 5 plus 8 now. 19 plus 8. 27.
All right, you see that you recognize it is a ancient necklace of fireballs, and
Ooh, fireballs.
there is also something called a filter of love, Philter. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, filter. It's like a potion.
Oh wow.
That's the best way I could put it.
So
Not like it is.
don't
It
use
is a potion.
Leonardo. Don't use it on Ms. Lindra because you guys are both girls. And
Use it,
and you also find one greater healing potion of greater healing, which might be valuable for you right now. Might be a good thing, unless you want to use your heals.
Well, basically, I have 3. I was looking at the thing, and I was trying to figure out what second level spells that you pick up.
Okay. So your shadow demon, he's still latched onto you from behind you. He's holding onto your shoulders, last week he melded with you. He put his hand inside your back and grabbed your heart, and he melded with you. He told you and him are now one. But his arm is out. It's just resting on your shoulder. He's like, oh, these are the treasures of Bryce's. They 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 must have really decorated her in her passing with this tomb. Did you guys find any other treasures in here? I wonder. And he says it in like a raspy voice. He talks almost like he's got like he drank too much alcohol and smoked too many cigars.
Is he going Golem on us?
Do what?
Is he going Golem on us?
Well, yeah, that kind of voice, similar. Or like oh, never mind. It's hard to explain it. I can't do the voice either. I'll try it eventually. I gotta practice it. But he's not attacking you. He's not hurting you anymore or anything like that.
Right.
But he does have his hands on your shoulders, and you see that his fingers, they are he is a shadow demon. He's got like ethereal rings on him, like ethereal blue rings. He's got like a couple chains and like little shoulder decorations, kind of like armor. But he doesn't look like the standard shadow demon that you would that you've seen from the other demons. Yeah, this one is like he seems more intelligent. The other ones always seemed full of rage and stuff. This one, you don't get the sense of rage. You feel more loneliness from him.
Do we all see him?
Everybody sees him.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
I demand that the demon tell me his name.
he says, my name is Cinnabuk. And
Cinnabon?
Cinnabon. Synobok.
Cinnabon. And what do you plan on doing with my compatriots?
Hoping just to get out of here. Don't get me wrong. He floats away from the back of Fingers' shoulders and starts flying towards you. He goes, "Don't get me wrong. I wasn't always a demon. I wasn't always like this. I have a curse that was placed upon me long ago, and Bryce's made me her servant. She made me do."
I warn you now that we are on a quest to defeat demons, and if you turn on us, I will not hesitate to defeat you as well.
And he turns. He goes and flies over to Fingers, and he points at you. He goes, "Remember what I told you. If I die, you die, and if you die, I die."
right, I understand that.
And I'll look at Fingers and it's like, and I'll tell you the same thing. If I have to, I will kill you to make sure that he dies too.
He goes. He tells you, "Well, such lovely friends you guys are."
Well,
I
he
said,
does get a little-
I said if I have to, not I will.
He says, he goes, "Well, I hope it doesn't come to that."
I do as well.
Well, at least we can agree on that. And what's it called? He tells you that there's certain things that he can do. I can go through walls if you guys need a little observer. I can go a small distance away from the sword, but not too far. And then with
Now, what is required to get rid of your curse?
I'm not a curse.
No. You said you had a curse.
You have been cursed.
Oh.
What have you done? To
To
remove
me,
the-
you are.
He goes, "Do I look like a magician?" I don't know.
Well, I know a little
Yeah.
magic.
If
Kind
I
of, yeah, I mean,
if I'd have known, I would have taken care of this a long time ago.
hmm.
Maybe just a remove curse spell.
Remove curse spell. That sounds interesting.
I think that would be cleric, though.
Do you have that kind of power?
Not at the moment, but we may be able to find someone that does.
That would be interesting. Let's see what we can do.
And with this, well, we'd have to talk with the other guys first.
But I wonder if there was a remove curse spell done on me, what would happen to me?
You'd be free to pursue your own war.
We might pass on.
I imagine that, yeah, hopefully your spirit would just be freed.
Yeah.
Only one way to
Or
find
you'd be
out.
free-
Yeah.
Or you would be free to pursue your own agenda.
Because I'm not going to lie to you. As much as I don't like being trapped to this sword, I don't want to die either. So if there is a remedy to fix what I experienced without me dying or facing obliteration, then it sounds like a good idea to me. All right.
Okay.
And he says,
Well,
in
were
the.
you in the?
Go ahead.
I was going to ask. Were you a drow, an elf?
Yes,
And
I was a
Okay.
drow. I was an elf. I come from High
And then-
Forest. Many years
Okay.
ago, when the lands were primitive and the cities were in the sky. But I was originally from High Forest, and I was captured.
Okay, then. Oh, good grief! I wish I knew more elf lore. Then you would probably be your soul would probably be cast back into the pool of light, or oh crud! I can't think what it's called now. Into the pool to be reborn again.
Maybe.
Like that's usually what happens, or they're
What's the
Or
boy
they,
supposed to do?
But would that still happen if I'm not an elf anymore? I wonder.
Well, it's kind of hard to make you. Well,
If you're cursed into this form, you would be and remove curse would turn into your former form.
Squish should be an elf.
Maybe.
Right.
I would hope so. All right, and then he goes, "Well, you guys sound like a very positive influence for me, and I'm very grateful for that because you wouldn't believe the things that Bryce has had me do, and I do not want to speak of it. Just know that it was vile and terrorizing, vilely horrific and terrorizing.
Terrible.
Right.
Hopefully, you're a much better person than she was." And then he goes and turns into mist
Generally speaking.
and flies into the sword. And we already know Ms. Lindra, when he brings out that sword, it is sunlight. It is direct sunlight. He can control the density of the light, the concentration of it.
Radius, right.
But you do have that medallion that can be destroyed by sunlight, as well as your bracelets of arrows, missile,
Okay.
your bracelets of missile attraction.
So that's one way to get rid of them. That's one way to get rid of them if you don't want them anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I
Well,
told you last week too, when you had the blade out, the radiant blade out, the demon was squinting, trying to hide from
Right.
it. So it is you are aware that it is a weakness for it.
Right.
So every time you bring it out, you unleash the sword. He's going to be in pain.
Right.
Okay, so Darendil comes running in, and he goes, "I know we're a few minutes short and a day late, but are you guys okay?"
Yeah, we're fine.
Considering yes.
He says, "Eldith and Ron and I have been working on trying to move some of these boulders. We've gotten only a
great.
small gap, but we have a lot more work to do. And if we don't work together to get out of this cave, we might run out of oxygen. oxygen, air.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think we want to sleep in here tonight in case we do die in our sleep of carbon monoxide. Well, do they know what carbon monoxide is?
They might.
Probably not.
Right.
Well, they run out of good air.
Yeah, well,
It,
Prince Darendil. He's Prince Darendil. He might be a Quaggoth, but he's
Right.
very smart. He's a fancy lad. He knows his stuff.
yeah.
He's a expert in automotive repair.
Automotive.
Zen and the art of motorcycle repair.
Have we finished searching this entire crypt?
Yes.
Tomb?
Yeah,
Whatever it's
you
called?
found everything that you can actually take. Other than that, most of the things are going to be like mosaic patterns on the floor that were engraved into the
Right.
stones, or
Wasn't one of the walls covered in a mural that had gems all over it?
it was
They were semi-precious.
they were not precious. They were unprecious gems. It was just like
Okay.
Quartz and
not even
Okay.
that. It was kind of like
pretty stones.
you, you don't find any value in those stones. It was there just for an ornamentation, like a decoration, but it's not
Right.
actual not like actual royalty. Bryce's was not that type of wasn't buried with that kind of honor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just more of a high priest type.
Yeah,
Well,
but
now
you
we're really fucking rich now.
yeah, but on the
Yeah.
on the walls though, one of the walls showed Bryce's with her riches and her servants and her army behind her. The other wall was a mural of the cities of the Netherese floating in the sky. And in one of the other chambers, I forgot to mention, you did find a sundial design on the wall too. I don't know how to read it. You guys don't know how to read it either. So we're not going to get into the specifics on that. I have to do research on the Netherese. I failed to do that again. I was working so hard on the next chapter that I forgot to look up the Netherese.
Don't
Okay,
worry
well,
about it.
then, if we need to clear rocks, and that's our next step.
Okay.
Yes.
So you guys remember what was on the other side of the cave, or before the cave in? What was out there?
The flying creatures in a crevice.
Right.
And what was in the crevice?
Those
The
those things with the 3 fingers.
No.
no, it was the Demigorgon.
Yes.
Oh, that big crevice. I thought you meant the
Yeah,
crevices in the
Yeah,
cave.
in the chasm. Oh
It's
yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
it's almost been following us.
It
I think
seems
it's
to
been
have been.
I think it's just headed the same direction we are. I don't think it's actually following us.
Right. So we can probably warn a couple of the towns we get into as to, hey, look out.
Yeah, you ran into him once in the Dark Lake at Slibladop. And then you ran into him again when you guys
Right.
fell through the hole that the purple worm made, and
Yeah,
with
and
the
now
spider
this.
webs, and now this. And it has been a while. What would you say? How much time would it have been that you guys have been inside this tomb? So you're not sure if it's been quite long enough where the rocks have dispersed. I'll say maybe an hour. An hour in this
Well,
tomb?
that's
30
no,
minutes?
30. Well, more. I'd say about 2 hours by the time we get finished examining everything.
Okay. All right. So then let's roll some strength checks. What's it called?
Move rock check.
Okay. So pretty much oh, wait a minute. You guys got to roll your strengths. Go ahead, roll your strengths. 2?
2. I've only got 10 strength.
How about 22?
There
Okay.
you go. He can make up for me.
You're getting
she can.
some good sized boulders and you're moving them away, and Ron is like telling you guys look out below as he's pushing boulders on the side.
Oh, wait.
And pretty much you guys have dug out as much as you could, but you guys see that there is a huge slab that is blocking what may be a good portion of the cave that you could get out of. There's still a lot of boulders around it piled up, but this one is a very large it's going to be too heavy for you guys to pick up. It's probably around 5 foot diameter, but you're thinking if there's a way that you guys could get rid of this, it'll help out a lot.
Well, I didn't bring any dynamite with me, so.
What does Leonardo have? Where's Leonardo?
Yeah, I got. And I was looking to see if I had anything like Thunderstep or something. I got nothing like that.
No, my spells don't work. The ones that I've chosen don't work like that. So.
Leonardo.
I have the spell Thunder Smite.
Thunder Smite?
That might.
Yeah.
Alright.
It just does thunder damage.
Alright, so when Leonardo gets his headphones in, explain the situation to him. See what he can do.
We need a shatter spell.
No, I don't have anything like that.
Alright. Go ahead, explain the situation to Leonardo, so Leonardo is aware of what's going on.
We're stuck in a cave behind a bunch of rocks and we can't move them.
Yeah, they're just too big.
There's
We need
one.
something to blow them up.
There's one huge.
Oh, I do have enlarge and reduce.
There you go.
Reduce work. Yeah.
Reduce might work.
Okay, so does the rock have a saving throw? It's like it's like a 5 foot
No,
boulder.
objects don't get saving throws.
Yeah, it's like a 5 foot boulder that you know that if you got rid of this boulder, it'll be a huge leeway to getting out of the cave.
The only way this rock would have a saving throw is if it was being wielded as a weapon by another creature.
Or if it was
Like
sentient.
if the giant was trying to throw it at you or something, it would get
I
a
guess the
saving throw.
question also is the rock alive?
That's
That's true.
The Earth
it's a
is
living
alive.
creature.
If you shoot the ground with the bullet,
It has to be
you're
a
killing
creature.
the planet.
It has to be a creature.
So you're gonna use
Although you can argue that the planet is alive, you can argue that it's definitely not a creature.
It's Unicron.
It could be, I guess.
All right.
What's that?
Unicron is a
No,
planet-sized transformer.
right.
Yep.
No, I was thinking the other one, Ego from the movie Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
The planet was-
so you're gonna
Took me a minute
cast
to remember.
reduce,
Yeah.
reuse, recycle. All right, so
shrink it by
Oh.
80.
all right, so you use your spell slot. You see Leonardo doing his magic, and he says sim salabim or whatever you do. And so the rock does shrink, and as it shrinks, Ront, he's standing next to it, and he just starts pushing it out, and it does. Wind comes in, like air coming in from the cave.
Fresh air.
Yeah, so you guys do breathe it in, but it still has that faint sour smell of like rotten feet from the mold and the fungus. So but you guys made a big enough hole for you guys to get out of, and Runt, he kind of pierced through slowly, and he says, "I'm gonna check it out, see if it's safe." And as he crawls through, so that he doesn't make like a high profile for himself, he kind of like slides back down the rocks behind you. He goes, "I don't see the birds right now, but I can still hear them off in the distance. If we travel carefully, hopefully we can avoid contact with those things."
Okay.
All right, so one by one, you guys are going out of this cave, and you have to climb down a little to get to where the ledge is, beside the chasm, and it's kind of like a makeshift road. It's very smoothed out. And it looks like it's a worn path with heavy travel. Possibly wagons and stuff have gone through here, and it could be a popular route from traveling from place to place,
Right.
to Gracklstaugh from wherever, and But this fungus, it's still all over the place. It's covering every inch, and there's no getting away from this thing.
Mm-hmm.
As you guys travel, uh, we'll say like the expanse, you could tell it's larger than a football field wide from where you guys are at to across the chasm, and it is pretty far. You can't see the other side, and you can't see the ceiling. Um, there's no glowing phase res rocks or glowing mushrooms because it's all enveloped by this moss. So it's very dark, and if there's anything out there, uh, you're not going to be able to determine until it's like right in front of you if it's like that stone giant that you guys ran into earlier where it blended in with the rock. Situations like that. So as you're going through, you do hear the flapping of wings off in the distance. Large set of wings from the Vrox. You know it's from the Vrox.
Oh.
And as it starts getting louder,
Oh, good.
what's it called? Ront is on point. Leonardo, do you want to be in the front also, or somebody with a long range vision?
Well, the only thing is, I'm not really crazy about being in the front.
I know. Well, you learned your lesson after last week.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take those goggles of night or goggles of seeing.
Okay. And you
put
can use
those
them.
on, and they will give me the distance needed, and I'll go up front.
Okay. So.
I said before we go on, I've got one more second level spell to pick out. I'm trying to figure out what to get.
Well, you could worry about that on the rest. You're not resting right now. Yeah, your expended slots are your expended slots. If you're still injured, did you heal yourself by any chance?
Well, no, I just wondered if we got a rest between from the last time or not.
No.
No, we didn't.
Because I've got one second level spell slot left.
We rested, and then the cave-in happened, and then any spells you used while we were in the crypt are gone. We haven't rested again. I am down to I have 3 first level spells and 1 second level spell slot left.
Well, I have 1 second level spell only because I didn't cast any. I didn't have any written down.
Wasn't that reduce?
That was but I have 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's second level spell.
Reduce is 1.
Well, you're injured is what I'm saying, right?
Well, I understand that. But I'm just saying is I have 1 second level spell slot. Period.
Oh, I understand that.
I could upscale upscale a healing spell, but I don't know what that would do.
I can just use a couple more charges off the wand.
Okay, that would be more appreciated. I can save my spot, my spell.
Well, as I was gonna say as an enchanter, as an artificer, you have to premeditate your spells, like choose them before you cast them, right? Like a bard can use any spell at any time.
Well, basically, I can pull out my spider and have it heal me.
But
your spider.
Well, basically, basically it talks about using one of the examples was creating a spider to cast the heal spell through.
Does that take rest, or is it like a summon?
Well, basically, basically I cast a spell, but instead of casting a spell, it goes through the spider, my construct. So I place the spider, the I guess metal spider, on the wound, and then the magic energy flows through the spider into me, the heal spell.
Is that what an artificer does?
Yeah, you create magic. You cast spells, but you don't cast spells through like a regular wizard or a cleric. You cast the spell through an item.
What he's saying is the way the artificer works is that the artificer uses a combination of magic and technology to cast his spells. So what he has is a magical little mechanical spider that he has wander around him. That when he casts his healing spell, the spider bites him and injects a healing serum into him.
Or spider web.
Okay, yeah. This is new to me. I haven't heard this. I didn't know that his character can do this.
I don't know.
Well, again, it's just the weird way that the artificer casts spells. It's just that's how he's twisting the way that
it's magic, but it's not creating magic like I said, like a cleric.
Okay.
yeah.
I create the items, the spell, the magic goes through the item.
All right.
Yeah.
So how much would that heal you? It's like a
still
heal over
just
time.
like- It's still just
Well,
like
no,
the regular
so,
spell,
it's a
And
D8
it
plus
still
my
uses-
spell.
and it still uses a spell slot and all that stuff. It's not like the little thing gets to just do it whenever. He
Okay.
still has to use a spell slot.
So
It's just that's the
Correct.
way that it works. It uses a sort of quasi mechanical magic combination to make his spells work.
okay. So my question though is when you as an artificer, do you have to premeditate your spells before you can use them? Like you can't just cast
okay.
any spell at any time. You have to
think
select
you
the
have,
spells.
you have to pick them up.
Here,
You have to
there we
write
go.
down, select. You have to select them, and then with basically each time I go through a level,
Yeah,
I
I
can
think
change them.
I think he casts spells similar to a cleric in that he has access to his entire spell list, but he has to prepare spells at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. So
Yeah, I think that's how it works.
so what is he's saying he doesn't have a selected spell.
He's
Well-
saying he hasn't picked one of his second level
Okay.
spells.
Correct.
Well, pick your
He
spell.
doesn't know what
Pick
spell
your
to pick.
pick
I
your
wasn't sure what to pick though.
Okay, pick your
There's-
spell.
Okay.
Hold on,
Doesn't
hold
matter.
on, hold on, hold
You
on,
can change it every day.
hold on. Pick your spell, but if you don't pick one, you're not going to have a spell slot to use. Because I'm not
Well, I
going.
was wondering. Oh, I understand that. But I'm saying is aid or enhance ability.
It's your
What
choice.
do you think sounds good?
It's your choice.
Mm.
I'm talking. Well, it's
Oh.
up to the party because I'm gonna be casting it on them.
Well, aid is really good if you remember to cast it every day. Aid lasts for 8 hours when it's cast, and it's not a concentration spell, and it gives 3 targets 5 additional hit points.
From the max hit
Per
points, right?
level. No, yeah, it's
give
per
them 5
level.
maximum hit points. They're technically temporary hit points because they only last
Right.
8 hours. But if you cast them at the beginning of every day, then we should have them pretty much the entire day.
Well, the question that is also where did it go? Enhance ability.
Enhance ability is one of those ones where you can cast it when you need it, whereas aid is something where if you're not using that spell slot every single day, it's kind of a waste to take aid. Aid's kind of pointless unless you're going to burn a second level spell slot every day. Unless you're okay with always being down 1 second level spell slot.
And I think enhance ability is only good for what, 1 minute
Yeah.
and 1 person.
Yes.
And you
But
have.
it gives them advantage or something like that, or gives them a D6 on a. I forget what it is.
I
It's
think
a pretty good spell when you need it, but
I think one of them gives you additional hit points if you choose.
Yeah.
What is it? The bear, and then
yeah,
and
gives
then
the target 10 temporary hit points, I think.
and then the bull gives you advantage on strength saving throws, and then the other one's
Something
is
like that,
wisdom
yeah.
saving throws. So
Yeah, something like that.
it's your choice, Leonardo, what you want to choose, but select it now because if you don't select the second spell now, I'm not going to let you use any spell if you run into another encounter. So before we move on, pick a spell.
I also, by the way, did heal you for 20 points of damage.
Okay, so what would be a good spell to take?
Whichever one you want. They both have their pros and cons.
Let's see. Second level spell. Aid, alter self, arcane lock. There you go. There you have blur.
Okay.
Continual flame. Continual
Blur's
flame, but you can see.
Yeah, you don't need to
And large-
Okay, I'll take blur.
Heat metal. Heat metal.
Well,
If you
heat
run
metal's
across somebody
good.
in armor, that can be
That's
8d8 worth of damage.
Yeah.
So heat metal.
Well, if somebody's wearing heavy armor, it takes them 8 rounds to remove their armor, taking 1d8 per round damage.
You can also use it on their weapon too, make them drop their
Disarm.
weapon,
They have to drop them. Yeah.
take damage. Yeah.
Okay. So
Spider climb.
Make up my mind.
I think he already has spider climb.
No, you do.
Yeah, I thought you had the spell spider climb though.
No,
Levitate.
they're all
There you go.
good.
Levitate right out of danger, and into the claws of a rock.
I'll be back in a minute as he decides what spell to take. So you have 3
Okay.
minutes to pick a spell. If when I come back
Okay.
and you don't have a spell, then you don't have a spell.
Well, the problem then is also rope trick is good too
Mm-hmm.
for hiding.
Alter self.
Also,
If you do something, you can change your looks. You have dark vision, enhance ability.
what does
Less
enhance
erase.
ability do?
Less erase. I think it gives them like a +4 on their ability check. I'd have to look. Let's see. I can't find it. Probably because I'm misspelling it. Crud. Um, Enhanced ability. You touch a creature to bestow upon it magical enchantment. Choose the following effects the target gains if that spell ends. It adds, let's see, target bears endurance. It gains 2d6 temporary hit points. Full strength. It has advantage on strength checks. Grant's Grace doesn't take damage from falling. Eagle's Splendor has advantage on charisma checks. Fox's Cunning, target has advantage on intelligence checks. Owl's Wisdom has advantage on wisdom checks. That's about it. It enhances your ability. Oh well, he's gone anyway. That can be good. Enhance ability.
That's the one he was looking at.
Yeah.
Now, enhance ability is situational.
Yeah.
An 8 is okay, but again, it's like a permanent use of a second level spell slot. And because its duration is 8 hours,
Right.
because all it does is give 3 targets 5 additional hit points, it's really good to, it helps with all of our like frontline or tanks and stuff, or maybe even our squishies, giving everyone a few extra hit points, but it's got to be cast. It's not one of those things you cast in the middle of combat. It's like, okay, now everyone just has 5 extra hit points.
Right.
Especially considering the way that it says you have to actually cast a spell.
Let's see. Casting times 1 action, range 30 feet.
I didn't say that. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was what I was doing because I was reading the spell. It actually says, maximum hit points. Yeah, they're not temporary hit points. It actually increases your maximum hit points.
Right.
Granted, they do go away when the spell ends, but.
Right.
Oh no, did James rage quit?
No, he just lagged out.
Nah, he rage quit. He was like, he's not letting me. He's only giving me 3 minutes. Okay.
Well, there's only a limit.
I know a bard can
He's
choose.
calling on the wrong line again.
I gotta close the party then.
No, he's just calling. He's calling only me.
Yeah, he rage quit. No, I mean, technically it is cheating, right? If you have to pre-select your spells and then you just randomly pick it for the situation.
I mean,
I know a bard can do that.
Well, Bard has to have his spells too ready.
No, he could choose any spell. Well, he just studies, or he
Right.
rests, but he has a choice. He could use any spell at any time because he plays it like a song or something.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
bards don't
Don't
have to
mind.
prepare spells at the beginning of the day.
They what?
Bards don't have to prepare spells at the beginning of the day, but they do have to pick spells that they know.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
But once
They
they
have-
know the spell, they can't know other spells.
Right.
A bard
Like I
can't
may
just
know.
be like, a bard can't just be like, oh, today I want to cast this spell. Did you pick that spell when
Right.
you leveled up? No, then you can't cast that spell.
Mm.
Right. Now what happens?
Bards
You
have
can
access
know.
to their entire spell list but only for the spells known.
I think you might just have to restart everything because he's not coming on again.
Okay. All right. I'll see you guys in a minute. Excuse me.
Okay.
All right. So, what did you choose? Oh, he's still not there.
Well, he's
trying.
yeah.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, there's Chris, is what you were saying with Bard. You can like know 4 spells, but only have 2 spell slots.
Yes. And you
So
and the good thing about the bar too, I think for my character Happy, he had a skill that let him change a spell every other level or something like that. Like
right,
if he wanted to get rid of Fireball and put something else, he could do that.
yeah. Or if you find or you can keep if you find a scroll with a spell on it, you can probably put it in a book and
Study it.
save it for later. Also,
Well, no, because a bard has a limit to the spells he can actually know.
right.
Yeah.
But let's say I picked up a scroll of Fireball, but I'm not a level high enough to cast it. I can keep that scroll until I am high enough level to learn it.
Yeah. Oh, come. This sucks.
I'm using Fireball as an example. I don't even think do bards get Fireball?
If you have the class that lets you, if you have the skill that lets you pick from any school, yes.
Right, right. The Magic Initiate.
Yes.
James, you there?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you fine.
Yeah, I can hear you, Chris.
I had to plug in my PlayStation controller, and because PlayStation controller has a built-in mic and speaker, fucking Discord likes to just go, "Oh, you want to use that as your device?" No, because it doesn't work that way. You piece of crap.
I got thinking the other day. I was watching something. I should heavily reinforce the loot so I can use it as a great club.
Oh, wow.
Come on!
You got all that metal. Just wrap it around it.
Yeah.
There you go. It probably changed the resonance.
But
yeah, El Kabong.
encase it with silver.
There you go.
Okay. I think I'm gonna try to restart the party again.
Okay. Howdy. Rejoice, rejoice. Let the bells ring out.
Okay. Well, we're gonna continue until James can actually join. Oh, I wanted to tell you guys too. I talked to somebody. He's a friend of one of my tenants, and oh, there he goes. And I thought he lived out here in Antelope Valley because he goes to my friend's house all the time. But I asked if he wanted to play D&D on Wednesdays, and turns out he lives in Fullerton, something like that. But he said that he's probably willing to drive all the way from there on Wednesdays to play D&D.
I mean, if he wants to drive in and play, I mean, hey.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a long drive. I mean, it's not like. I mean, Tim drove from Tehachapi, and that's pretty far already.
Yeah, Fullerton's out there by Santa Paula. Out by Ventura, close to Ventura.
Yeah, isn't it like 2 hours? Hour and 45?
Yeah, about that.
I might be wrong. I think he said Fullerton, but I might be wrong.
I mean, again, though, if he's got an
No, I'm
easy
thinking
schedule,
Fillmore.
Fillmore.
Sorry, I was thinking Fillmore.
if he's got an easy schedule, though, it doesn't really matter how far away it is. If he can make the drive, he can make the drive. Honestly, if I could afford the gas to go out and play at Tim's table, every week, I probably would do that too, but I can't.
No, Fullerton's down by Anaheim. I just Google Earthed it.
I'm gonna restart it again.
That's even further.
Yes, it is.
I'm pretty sure
That's closer
James
to
is
3
having
hours.
problems, so I'm gonna restart it again.
Okay. Hey, James.
Huh?
All right,
Wrong
good.
channel.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Okay. Now, why aren't you guys?
It's
We are.
Well, I'm here, but I'm not.
I could hear you guys. I just can't see James or.
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, I can hear everybody. I just can't see anybody except for Dan. I can see Dan. Oh, wait,
There's James.
there's James.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, we're not getting video on you.
Yeah. Turn off camera and turn camera back on. See if that works.
Nope.
Okay. So what did you choose, James? What did you choose?
Oh, hold on. Oh, there it is. I'm going to take enlarge, reduce, and pyrotechnics.
I thought you only had one slot.
Two.
What?
Two.
Two
I have
what?
Two slots.
2 slots of second level spells?
Yes,
And you used one already.
correct. So I only have a slot left.
One. Yeah.
Correct.
So what are you choosing?
Basically, enlarge, reduce, and pyrotechnics.
So you have pyrotechnics. You don't have enlarge reduce.
Well, I had it.
Yeah, he used it. He'll have it again when he rests, but he doesn't have it right now.
Okay. Oh my God.
Actually, I think, again, because I think he casts like a cleric. I think he can cast enlarge reduce again. Oh, we lost everybody. Oh wait, he just wouldn't be. He would. Yeah, I think he can cast it again. He just, it's a slot thing, not an actual spell thing.
Correct.
Oh, the artificer spell slot is really weird.
Well, let's see, I have two cantrip, three first level spells, and 2 second level spell slots.
Oh yeah, left. Yeah. Are infinite. You don't actually run out of those.
What was that? It was like a sonic boom or something. This is terrible.
I didn't hear.
This is like a terrible stalemate. Wondering if I have to close it to get Guy in here now. How long has this been? Like 20 minutes? Oh,
Says
good.
what?
Crud.
Okay.
I don't know. I've had to actually get out of Discord and come back in.
Hey, I'm glad you.
It says I'm on
back.
another call.
Well, you're in here. We just don't see you. Okay. So, pyrotechnics is the choice that James took, and
Great.
and fingers, you're in the second, or do you want to be first in front of Ront?
No, I
Okay.
don't want to be in front like that. I don't want to be point.
Okay.
I'll be backup.
All right. And or you can put your sword out and illuminate everything.
Well,
kidding.
within a 30-foot radius or whatever.
Yeah. Now you don't want to do
Just
that.
make me a target. Just make me a target.
All right. So, as you guys are going, you guys are slowly going, trying to move silently. If you guys want to roll stealth checks, you can. Unless you guys want to move quickly to this area. knowing that these rocks are out here.
Well, I guess we're going to need to really move quickly so we don't get caught.
Okay.
The rocks probably have pretty good sight.
Oh, they have good sight and good hearing.
Yeah.
All right.
So either way.
So if you if you attract them, you're saying that you're gonna have to risk dealing with it, or
Right. And the sooner we get out of here, the better. Because they're either probably going to hear us or see us. One way or the other.
all right. So you guys do get to a part where it looks like it kind of a trail splits off, kind of going up and leading towards another cavern, or you could continue going straight down this cavern itself. But it will take you off track, and let me see. I'm gonna roll perception for Vrock.
Wouldn't rough it up or stool, no approximately direction to go?
If we take the down path, we're going off course.
Uh,
Either way.
either way, if it's still heading in the same general direction, just the chasm path that you guys are taking right now, it keeps going along, and then you guys find an off trail that it looks like it's leading off into slightly towards the northeast, and it might get you away from the Vrocks. This area is a very large area, but it's still.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of taking the path that takes us away from the rocks. But what's Stool got to say?
Stool says that there's still a few days. We're still a few days away from Neverlight Grove, but eventually we'll get back on course. If we avoid this direction for now, at least we could be safe from these rocks.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
All right, and so a rock, you hear flapping of a rock very nearby, but it just flies right by. I rolled a perception for it, and I'm not going to say the result. And
That's because he rolled a 1.
or lower.
No, I didn't roll a 1, or lower than a 1.
He rolled a lower than the 1 because he rolled that percentile dice and got that double 0.
That's 100. 0.
Are you
All right.
sure?
Yeah. All right. Because it's 3 zeros, so it's actually 1,000.
No, if you only roll one die, if you only roll the double digit die, it's only 2 zeros. I know that's still 10, I know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm being silly.
So so this path that you guys take, and you guys safely avoid the rocks, and they didn't spot you. So it starts leading into another cavern off to the side. Take that path, and it's another wide area, roughly around the size of a football field wide. So you have a lot of space to go through, and here you see that the cavern, as you go along this path, you find what's called ripple bark growing along the walls. And ripple bark is like those on trees you have those mushrooms that look like they're plates that kind of like go spiraling around the tree or something like that.
Yeah, and I can't remember the name. They're edible though.
Okay, well these ones are not. Wait, no, these ones are. These ones are edible, I believe. Let me look again. But they have like a rotten meat smell to them. Let me just let me double check this. I did.
If it doesn't smell good, forget it.
Ripple bark is a shelf-like fungus that resembles a mass of rotting flesh.
Oh, no.
It is surprisingly edible, though it can be eaten raw. It tastes better roasted. A single sheet of ripple bark yields 1d4 plus 6 pounds of food. Oh, wow. Okay. And as these walls are decorated with these ripple bark, it leads into what looks like to be like a kind of a zirkwood forest. These zirkwoods are like purplish grayish tree barks that look like they're how do I describe it? Some of them have like mushroom caps Some of them are broken mushroom caps, where it's kind of like a broken crown for a tree, and so you have these mushroom caps on the floor. These things range from anywhere between 3 feet high to 7 feet high, and it kind of is difficult terrain. You're gonna move slowly to navigate through them, but these are sturdy enough that if you wanted to, you could climb the top of them and hop from mushroom to mushroom. Normally, these mushrooms do have like a bluish freckled patch on the top of the mushroom caps, but these ones are covered with that moss, so it's not glowing. In fact, they're actually deteriorating, but they still have the support of like um, drying up wood, I guess you could
Mm-hmm.
say. So
Even if these things were healthy, I'm still not a big fan of jumping from mushroom to mushroom. Although that wouldn't look hilarious, but we have too many people that don't have the skill. I say we just walk.
okay, so
Well,
you,
well, the only problem is that I think my character could.
so you want to go from the
So-
top?
No, I'm right on my steel defender.
Okay, so you're just going to ride your steel defender, kind of like
Yeah.
bobbing and weaving between these things. It's very, very dense, very thick, and you do see a bunch of small mushrooms on the floor also, but they're rotting fungus as well. These ones, nothing in here actually looks edible because of that moss growing on everything. So that ripple bark that I said was edible, you know that this is contaminated by that fungus. You don't want to eat these things.
Right. Okay.
And as this concentration of this fungus starts getting more dense, some of these are actually growing higher, and at certain points you see that there's huge mushrooms growing around as tall as 10 feet tall, and the mushroom caps are about 15 feet wide. So some of
Yeah.
some of these, if you look underneath, you see that there's a kind of like a web material that, not exactly like web, but more like a stringy moss. And some of these actually have vines dangling down from around them too, but they're like darkish colored vines that it could be a vine, or it could be like a sap draining from these mushroom caps going down but solidifying like a very sticky substance.
Right.
Bees are just not to touch it.
And let me look up something real quick. You do hear noises in here though. You hear buzzing sounds of like could be giant bees or hornets or some things like that. You hear flies and mosquitoes. Some portions you do smell like a rotten carcass from some dead animal. Um, wrong page. Alright, so go ahead and roll your guys' perception.
25. That's a natural 20.
Okay.
13.
Alright, so Leonardo, you're noticing that there's certain mushroom patches where you see these kind of like wide-winged um giant mosquito type creatures, and they're you can spot where it looks like they're resting, but some of these are resting underneath some of the mushroom caps, and you can tell by how they inhabit these things, what mushrooms you might want to avoid walking next to, or risk having these things attack you. Leonardo, Fingers, what did you see? What did you roll?
13.
13. You see these creatures running around, but you don't make the same detail that you could tell where these things are making their hives at. So Leonardo,
Okay.
you can Chris, what did you roll?
I got a 10.
Okay, yeah, Leonardo, you can navigate the party if to avoid these if you want to do that.
Yes, yes. I let everybody know, and I tell them what to look for.
Okay. Oh, thanks. So these are the sturges flying around, and you guys are walking safely away from them. And since this is kind of like a slow terrain that you have to maneuver through, you guys are going as quietly as possible.
Yes.
Okay. So they seem to be. Some of them actually do seem to be flying over you, but don't even see you because of the mushroom caps. You guys are hiding underneath or near a the zirkwood stalks as you hear them flying by, kind of like taking cover.
Yeah.
All right. And you haven't really found a safe place to camp yet because it's
Yeah, I
been
guess we're gonna, yeah.
been very active.
Yeah. Guess we're just going to have to continue on.
All right. Day 11 of leaving Gracklstaugh.
It's been that long.
Yeah. So now you guys roll a what is it? Constitution for exhaustion check. Be like one level of exhaustion.
I believe so.
Okay, so Constitution
13?
checks. All right. What'd you guys roll?
13.
9.
What do you roll?
Constitution check for exhaustion. Is that how exhaustion works?
I would have to look it up. I don't know.
Let me double check. I got the book right here.
Oh, I got a 13.
Okay.
I
Again,
got a
I
20.
am writing.
So it better be actually what it needs because I'm gonna be mad if I waste that roll.
Oh, I am writing to Steel Defenders, so I don't have to worry about that.
But riding still takes energy.
Well, not as much as walking.
No,
Want to bet?
no, but it still takes energy from maintaining your balance, your focus, and not falling asleep and falling off of it. Okay. Shit.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to stay on a horse when you're asleep, even though you aren't on a horse.
Well, you can always tie yourself down to the horse, too.
Page 81.
Well, okay, I'm gonna say that I can't find it.
I'm just looking at the index. I've got PDF here.
Okay.
Page 181 or 185.
Okay.
And crud, where'd that other?
Is it Player's Handbook?
Yes, Player's Handbook.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I was looking at enchanted items.
Yeah, it's before then.
Food and water. Speed, movement.
Well, we're going to have to find some place to rest.
There's another. Yes, we are, but 291.
Hmm. 181.
Maybe
291.
291.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. I just trying to find under conditions one of the appendices.
Exhaustion. Some special abilities, environmental hazards such as starvation, long-time effects of freezing, scorching temperatures can lead to a condition called exhaustion. Exhaustion is measured in 6 levels. An effect can give one creature or more levels of exhaustion as specified in the effect's description. If an already...
Fucking hell.
What's up?
Nothing, I'm just annoyed with something that's not. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So I'm gonna say Fingers is exhausted because you rolled a 9, right? Everybody else rolled higher. So some of the other NPCs are exhausted too, like Fargus, he's exhausted. Stool and Rumpadump are exhausted too. And Darendil and Rot seem to be okay. Eldest seems to be okay too. They have pretty good constitution scores. And what's it called? This has been a large mushroom forest, and you've just been trying to keep away from these sturges, and safely with Leonardo guiding, you've made it through, but you have not been able to find a safe place to rest. So you kept on pushing through. So now, let me see this right here. I gotta find this note real quick. I want to say what it is, but I can't say it because I don't want to give something away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the terrain is changing a little bit.
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to remember where I saw it at.
1 second.
Where did I see it at? Oh. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm keep looking at these references like this.
Yeah, that's.
I just want to make sure I get it right before I say something. See, I have it written down my notes right here, but I don't know where the page is. Oh, wait a minute. I probably skipped something. Oh, never mind. Okay, I found it. No wonder I looked in the wrong section. Okay, got it. So this area now, it starts sounding like there's trickling water coming from the cave sides, and the ground is getting moist, and
Mm-hmm.
it's turning into like the water coming down from these walls, and the cavern starts narrowing further up ahead. And in this area, the the there's there's less activity from the sturges, and the mushrooms are actually starting to spread out. The zirkwood mushrooms they're starting to spread out, so it's getting less dense and easier to travel through. You
Mm-hmm.
still don't think that this is a good spot to rest at because it is in the middle of another traveling path, and there still could be monsters up ahead. But you do see that
Right.
there are new mushrooms that you haven't seen yet that look like tongues growing off the walls, growing off of the Zirkwood barks. And let me see. Oop, wrong dice. Okay.
Don't get close. It might give you a good tongue lashing.
Well, when you say that, uh, um, what's his name? Rumpadump turns around and says, "Well, these things they're not harmful. Um,
Mm.
they're
So,
actually actually edible for you guys. They're called tongues of madness. That's another type of mushroom."
Not,
I
not
suggest we
blasphemy.
Huh?
I suggest we collect some to augment our dwindling stores.
All
If you
right.
want to eat something named of madness, you go right ahead.
But
it's kind of a hint there.
and then what's it called? You start noticing. Well, actually, roll your perceptions, you guys.
I have to find someplace else.
17.
I'm gonna have to get some other dice.
Okay. Up ahead, you do see that
9.
there there's some plants that are very wide leafed. Some of them are as large as a child to as large as an adult, and the fungus from the area that was covering everything is actually lessening over here, and you're starting to see that there's some glows again, and this part is actually um, in a lot better condition, especially with this water trickling down. So this vegetation, you're starting to see what appears to be resembling giant aloe plants, roughly 5 feet wide and then 5 feet tall, but they're bluish in color, and these do glow a bluish light. And mixed up with all this flora and fauna, you do see that there are some um, things moving around as if they're working on these plants and tending to them. And since you guys rolled such high perception, you see that these things they resemble drow and quaggoth. The only difference is they have those open heads with the yellow on the top of their heads and the back of their heads. It's like an open skull
Mm-hmm.
with the yellow
Tendrils.
kind of, yeah, like you experienced before with the shambling mound when those when you saw that one head burst. Well, these things they seem autonomous, and they aren't talking, they aren't communicating. It just looks like they're working on these uh these plants and trying to tend to them.
Mm.
And you're probably around uh 80 feet away from them, but they don't seem to really notice you or pay attention to you guys. And
Okay.
Rumpadump tells you, we're getting closer. This is the right way to go to Neverlight Grove."
Okay.
And he says, don't mind these things. They are servants of the sovereigns from our community. As long as we avoid them and don't make any hostile action toward them, we should be safe to travel.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good to me.
So there's roughly a dozen of these drow um, with the spores on their head, and then there's another dozen quaggoths, and they're all spread out. They're not even working in pairs. They're working singularly, and I know you guys are tired, but
Mm-hmm. Oh, very.
if you push on through, you should be able to make it in another half day's travel.
Can we stop and collect water? Will they get mad if we touch the water?
You want to try it?
I'm asking.
No, you're
I'm,
fine.
I'm asking people that are with us that know stuff.
You're fine. Rumpadumps he uses his
Right.
report spores. He says
Alright.
it's safe to drink the water. These things they won't attack you unless you attack them.
Okay.
So you guys are drinking water and
Well, filling up our skins,
Yeah.
our skins.
Replenishing our supplies.
okay. And as you're doing that, you guys do notice that there are some mechanids that are there. And it looks like they're the supervisors of these drow and these quaggoths. And as they notice you and Rumpadump and Stool, they walk up to you guys, and they look like they're having like a joyfulness to their movements, kind of bouncy and excited.
Yeah,
And
great. We want the Smurf Village. Yay.
and as they walk up to you guys, they say to Rumpadump, "Oh, have you come back from your long journey?" And Rumpadump says, "Yeah, we're almost home, aren't we?" And the Mechanid, one of them talks about there's been a lot happening lately, and there's a, a a joyous day of celebration back in Neverlight Grove. You guys are more than welcome to come if you want, but Rumpadump, it's really good to see you safe and back, and as well as Stool. And then Rumpadump asks you guys, "Do you want to? Would you like to see?" Rumpadump says, "I don't know anything about the celebration, but it does sound good." You guys are huh?
Any excuse to party.
Yeah, you guys are pretty hungry, and you guys think it might be a good chance
We're
to
definitely in. Yeah,
Well,
we're
mainly
definitely
to rest,
rest,
get some sleep.
rest and good food, but at the same time, we also need to probably warn their community's leadership about the possibility of a demigorgon coming in here any day now.
Oh,
Well, there's definitely one around here somewhere, and also
Yeah.
the flying demons too.
Well,
and he says, "I don't know what a demogorgon is." And then Rumpadump says, "Let me
Oh.
show you." And what he does is Rumpadump touches the thing, and he lets his spores come out to like telepathically give him messages, and then he lets go of them, and he says, that was weird. That was different." He says, "I don't understand, but I couldn't connect with him." And
I'm going to use my last of my divine sense on these guys. Are they possessed?
well, you're getting the sense of a demonic presence everywhere, but what it is, it's mostly from the fungus, and you're not able to differentiate between the fungus, the Myconids, the Drow servants, and the Quaggoth servants.
So I'm basically overwhelmed by demonic senses, but I
Yes,
can't tell where it's coming from.
correct. It's just
Okay.
everywhere.
Hmm.
But but he tries to say that the creature, I only heard it from below, and it sounds like a very large monster. And then Stool describes it as like a 30-foot tall beast with
with two heads.
two heads and long tentacle arms. And he says, if it's 30 feet tall, there's no way it's going to get inside of Neverlight Grove, so we're going to be safe over there.
Well, the only problem is also had servants too.
It had servants?
Yes, the flying thingies.
Hmm.
Do you guys confirm that?
The rock. I don't know if those are those demonic? Are those demons? Aren't those just regular creatures of the underground? Of the Underdark?
Rocks?
No, because remember we're in the drought prison. There was flying creatures and
Yeah, it was two
walking
different
creatures.
Yeah, there's two different types of weird things flying in.
That's what I'm saying is basically Demogorgon is a major. It might have minors, minor creatures flying with it.
Yeah. Henchmen.
Exactly.
Maybe.
So the Demogorgon might not be able to get into the town, but the smaller things could. And if they breach the wall, then it might be able to get in too. So basically, they're not as safe as they think they are. I hope they are safe.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, he says we haven't seen any of what you've been describing, but the sovereigns, they should be made aware of what you are telling me. But we have great things ahead of us, and it's actually a good time that you guys have arrived. So we can escort you back to our grove, and especially since we're already done tending to this garden out here. Yeah, we can all travel together, and
Stool.
we'll be safe.
It was Stool that we were was trying to meld with the other guy, wasn't it? Or was it
Rumpidum.
Rumpidum?
Rumpidum.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to go over to Rumpidum and ask him what does he mean by he couldn't meld with him.
Couldn't connect with.
He says,
Connect with him.
us Myconids, we have a way of resting where we share each other's thoughts and communicate with each other when we rest. And normally, we can intermingle with each other's experiences and share those experiences during these resting periods. However,
Okay.
I didn't get the sensation from this one, and that's very strange. It's
Yeah, that's from
I
your.
want to ask.
and I don't know of any celebrations. We've never had a celebration in our community before.
Okay, so that means to keep our guard up because
wanna-
something's wrong.
Yeah, I want to ask the tenders as we're walking to Neverlight if
Mm.
they know anything about the strange fungus that's been, the strange moss, whatever it is, that's been growing on
The
everything.
red stuff.
He says, well, we've noticed that it's been making its way closer and closer to our gardens, so we're trying to be extra careful taking care of our gardens from these things. We don't know where they come from, though.
Well, it's an aberration. Something's causing it to.
Right. It's like the kudzu of the underworld. It takes
Actually,
over
with-
everything.
Well, the only problem with the kudzu is at least it's things can eat it.
Yeah, goats really like it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, basically any herbivore, cows probably like it too.
Okay.
My sister had goats. They just
Well,
seem to go
yeah.
wild on it.
Yeah.
I hate when I have like these brain farts, and I want to describe something, You know, like when you're on the spot and then you just fuck up, or
Oh,
your
yeah.
mind blanks. That's
Yep.
what's
Yeah.
That's what's happening to me right now. It's like I've read this thing so many times, and I just now
As soon as you want it, you can't remember where it's at, or
everything is just a jumbled mess in my head, and I don't even know where to begin.
yeah.
It's okay.
Okay.
But
Take a minute.
we're coming
Figure it out.
we're coming into Never
Neverlight.
Grove,
Yeah.
Neverlight Grove.
And I'm trying to.
Well, if I draw the
I'm
sword,
trying. I'm
it
trying to
wouldn't be
give you.
Neverlight.
I'm trying to
Right.
give you more of a description of the celebration because I can't think what this is
Oh,
because he's excited for it. You know, like he's
yeah.
kind of like bouncy and energetic. But I want him to be able to tell you what it is, but I can't think.
And what about these guys? What about the guys that were working in the field? That's what I'm. Also, that's something I'm.
That's he's
Bill, have you ever seen them?
yeah. That's normal. That's
Okay.
normal. Shit. 1 second, you guys.
I will, however, say that my earlier assumption, I think, is correct. Something is definitely probably going on in this town, and we're going to need to purge it before we can leave.
Oh, probably.
Much like in Gracklstaugh. We're
Yeah.
going to have cut out for us, I think, this time.
Or.
I also suggest that nobody eat or drink anything once we get
Or.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
I hope we
I'm
don't.
trying to find these details of the celebration because it's actually
Right.
a good thing. But I can't. Oh my god. Okay, so like basically, all your travels between Gracklstaugh to this point is supposed to be like nightmarish and hellish, like one hell of a
It's true.
burden.
Yes.
And this is supposed to be the good thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't even describe it. Like, oh. Hold on. Oh shit. This fucking sucks.
Yeah. All of them seems to be that way. This way.
Oh, okay. Alright, yeah. So, it's a celebration for the Great Cedar, and the Great Cedar is like um, replenishing the land with vegetation, fresh food, fresh water, and
Mm-hmm.
making everything um, better in for the Making community. And
Something like this.
and what's it called? So talking about the celebration, Rump It Up and Stool, they don't know what a celebration is. They don't really get out and dealing with other communities. So like everything you guys experienced before was all new stuff for them entirely. So they're not familiar with partying, you could say. So
Uh-huh.
so
Okay.
they find this odd because they're learning something new, and evidently their culture is changing, and it seems like where Rump It Up and Stool are kind of like um, moody and not non-energetic or enthusiastic. These things are feeling good. So like when you were in the Whirlstone tunnels
Right.
looking for Droki, you ran into the other Myconids.
Yeah.
Those ones were dancing and stuff.
Yeah, they seem to be like them.
Yeah. So it's you're getting that same positive feeling from these guys, and um all that demonic influence from the outside area with the fungus and stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's been a burden, and but you're starting to see that with all these drow servants right here and these Quaggoth servants. Yeah, they are I guess um mindless servants, but they're not hostile, and you see that they're not hostile towards you guys. Um, the ones that you encountered before when you saw the drow in the tunnel and his head exploded,
Right.
these kind of look like that, but those ones, if you remember, they were walking away until that you attacked that first one. When you attacked the first one, then they started coming towards you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so those ones, you're thinking that maybe they were servants as well, like trying to see a connection with what you ran into before with these ones. So those things, when they died, um, they were the Myconids did something with their carcasses to actually make them useful. I guess you could say. So that's why you see these drow with their heads like blasted off in the back with these yellowish like sprouts coming out of their brains. Same thing with the Quaggoths. And so they're offering to finish take you guys back to Neverlight Grove in large numbers, and you guys do feel safe with having these large numbers, but at the same time, how do you guys personally feel about being around these drones? I guess you could say.
Not happy.
Not happy?
Nope,
No.
not a big fan.
Okay. All right.
Tired but weary.
Yeah. Rumpadump and Stool, they do assure you that this is a normal part of their civilization. That they, because most of the Myconids, they don't exactly have hands unless they're like adult Myconids. Then they start having their claws and stuff so they could do the work. These are the things. They're like he's explaining. They're the defenders. They're the
Okay.
caretakers. They're Myconids are not really like a violent race. They're very isolated. So if there's wild beasts and stuff, that's what these things are for. And that's Rumpadump and Stool telling you that. All right, I got
Which
you.
one
Okay.
did the one which one of those I made the hands for?
Rumpadump.
Oh, is he showing off his hands?
Yeah, he still has his hands.
I'm just thinking the mushrooms.
Well.
What do they say when they see them?
Oh, okay. These
So-
Myconids are Myconid adults, so they have hands, and they don't really say anything about what's it called, the observation with Rumpadump's hands. It's because they're too distracted by the celebration that they just want to get
Okay.
everything ready for the party. So it's like a joyous occasion to them, and that's all they keep talking about, pretty much.
Need to find some rest.
Okay, so as you guys start going, this cavern, it kind of slopes up slowly, and it starts narrowing into a small passage, and you definitely well, not upward. It's going downward. Sorry, it's going downward. The water is trickling, flowing down this canal, and you definitely know that Demogorgon is not going to be able to make it inside of this hole because it's probably like um, maybe 10 feet tall, 10 feet wide, and
Yeah. But what about his servants? So
Who
like
knows?
Chris was saying, he's not certain that they are his servants.
Yeah.
They're probably just like another encounter that was there.
okay.
All
I
right.
was in the church.
We didn't see any back in where was it? Slobodub? We only saw him.
Yeah, because they were
Seeing
two
type
two different.
service.
Yeah, those are two different encounters. So like the demons that you saw in the prison, they were Vrox, and they were Chasmi demons that look like gigantic hornets with long beaks. Um, but you didn't see them with Demogorgon. The only association between them and Demogorgon is in that chasm that you guys just left. But Demogorgon was on the bottom, and it deep on the bottom. It were like so far deep that you guys couldn't even see him. And then these rocks were flying in the cavern, but they were just in the area. So they're
Right. Demogorgon might have upset their nests, so that's why they were upset their nesting area. So that's why they were flying around.
Oh, I wasn't sure.
yeah, that's a good
But
guess.
basically, all I'm just saying is basically you might not be associated with, but keep an eye out for.
Right. Just in case.
Exactly.
So as these things start leading you through this tunnel, the stream gets louder, and you kind of hear like a faint singing in the background. It's more like a humming. It's very very faint, like oh, things like that, and or even like very very deep tones like oh, and let me see this. So as you, oh man, where's that description? Okay, as you start going through the tunnels, kind of going downward, you see that it opens up into a cavern, roughly the size of almost a football field and a half. And in here, you see a plethora of different vegetation. Um, some of those blue aloe plants, some of them big mushrooms with blue glowing spots all around them, like freckled mushrooms. But these are huge mushrooms, like ranging between 5 feet and 10 feet tall. And the freckles are like, you know, as big as your heads. Some are a little bit bigger than your heads, like chest size. And it gives off a blue illumination. This view that you see of this cavern, the cavern is below you guys. So you have like an aerial view of this whole place, and you do see some of the moss from that was densely outside that you got the demonic presence from.
Mm-hmm.
So it is spreading into here, but it's not as heavy as it was. However, with the stream going down, the trickling down the walls, uh, you as you start stepping in there, you start picking up a nasty smell that kind of smells like rotten decay.
Oh, it's something. Well,
And
mushrooms do like this and stuff.
so on the far side, because this whole place is illuminated, you see what looks like a cliff hang above a cliff rising above the the whole- the lower part of the cavern, and from there you see what looks like um, blue veins of not veins but illuminating moss builds that look like veins spreading further into the back of another what looks to be like another chamber, and you can't really see what that chamber is behind there because the ceiling of it has a thick moss, a thick fog, but it looks like there's a gigantic mushroom in that back chamber. And to get in there, it looks like there's a, a narrowing um, wall, or the cavern narrows to a small entrance to go into where that dome is with the mushroom. But you also see that there is a ravine in front of that wall. So the way this thing looks from the overview, it's kind of like you're getting a panoramic view. So on the left side, you see a couple um, trails for a a terraced area, and then same thing on the right side. And so seeing this from an aerial view, this trail that you're walking on, it leads uh, to the right and kind of down into what's like a large um, mushroom forest with a lot of this vegetation, and it's very dense. It is difficult terrain. There are myconids in here that are working, but you don't see the drow servants or the quaggoths in this area. What it is it is the myconids working themselves, and on the other side, kind of like segregated, you see that there are quaggoths and drow um, servants working on the far side of this cavern.
Okay.
Can I ask what is in the cave?
This is Neverlight Grove. This is our home.
The big cave across the way with the blue veins and the thing that looks like a mushroom.
Oh, that is the Garden of Welcome, and that is where we are preparing for the celebration. We'll have you talk to Sovereign Philo. He is the leader of our community, and he can tell you more about the celebration. But soon, we will have to go into uh, our melding and rest as the day has been long and laborious. We have to go to our cycle um, of our circles unions and rest
So
um,
we must do.
and once you speak with Sovereign Philo, I'm sure that he'll want you to he would
What about it?
more than welcome you guys
Okay.
to stay
If you like it.
and replenish your energy, rest, and eat.
Hmm?
So unfortunately, I guess the
Yeah.
fungus, whatever it is definitely not of this
That's
world.
losing tight.
Well, you've never seen it before.
Sorry.
They've never
Well,
seen it, and then the smell of it too.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, it's definitely something from
Mhm.
other world or other dimension. Definitely a major concern, or should be.
No problem. I just.
So as you start going down this
Oh,
path,
okay, yeah.
it's
No
kind
problem.
of like winding down, and
Okay, that's great.
and you are making
I
it
missed it. Oh, man.
safely down the trail to what appears to be like the forest garden area of this part. Excuse me.
Don't worry.
And what's it called? That's you hear that same singing getting a little more louder, but it's still faint in the background on the far side where the mushroom is. So you could either interpret that humming sound as either like a holy ritual or a preparation of celebration. But
I don't.
I'll ask Grumpadump.
The mechanids don't communicate audibly.
I know.
And I'm
Right.
listening to them
They spore and then
Spore gives like a telepathic.
until I'm proven wrong. Until I'm proven otherwise, I'm going to assume it's not them.
yeah, it is audible. It's not
Yeah.
telepathic. It is an audible noise. Um, I gotta use the bathroom. I'm gonna take a quick 5 minute break.
No
I know that we did take a long break trying to get the stream together and stuff, but we're gonna take 5 minutes. I'm gonna
Sounds good.
use the bathroom.
I'm gonna go off. I'm
Read-
gonna
read
use
this.
it too.
That sounds like a good idea.
Oh, are you?
Okay.
Do you have to do medication?
Bathroom
No,
too.
her line is out and she's doing good. She's just letting me know she had some vegetables this evening. That's what
That's good.
my attention was divided.
Oh, so she's eating
Okay.
regularly now.
Well, not regularly, but
But
she is eating.
Good, good.
Okay.
All right, so quick
Okay.
break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Mel.
Hello, hello, hello.
So how you doing?
Okay. That bathroom break sounded like a good idea.
Yeah, I was
Then my
told I
wife
had took
distracted
it.
me.
This is funny. Unfortunately, I've got the Everon book and the player's handbook, and I can't find pyrotechnics anywhere.
It's in the player's handbook. Just a minute. Let me give you a page real quick. I can give it to you.
Okay.
Come on. PR protection prone. Interesting.
So it has Phantasmal Killer, Phantasmal Steve, Plane, Plane,
All right.
Plane, Poly,
So
Plant, Power, 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 yeah, Prism, Praying,
there. How's that?
Prism, Holland.
That's the way the book should be. A 3D model on it. That would be cool.
Definitely something I don't want to see.
All right.
it's a Snodgrasser's chest. Is it a chest or is it a mimic? No way to tell until you open it.
Well, if it bites you, it's a mimic.
In Neverwinter the game, when you run into a mimic,
Yeah.
when you kill it, it bursts with treasure, like gold, weapons, armor.
Ah,
The spell is an
Uh,
Elemental Evil Player's Companion book.
No, it's in Xanther's Guide.
Oh,
Oh,
His
Xanther's
pyrotechnics is in Xanther's Guide.
they do that?
Okay.
Okay.
Because I've got the tune and it's not in the player's book.
Yeah, it's in Xanther's.
All right, so you're making your way down this trail, and you're starting to get into the forest. And here's a description: pale green and bay stalks grow thick and tall, resembling the surface world forest. Fungi grow in profusion everywhere, and it's hard to find anything resembling a path between them. The giant caps of zirkwood mushrooms obscure your view of the cavern's ceiling, but luminescent fungi there give off a shimmering aura. With each step you take, did we lose Guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
That the blue donut could be your first hint.
All right. What time is it, by the way? Is it late?
8:30.
8:30. All right, there goes Guy. We'll wait for him to come back.
All of a sudden, everything went kaput.
Okay. Oh, I just got Frank's message. He said no, he won't be playing today. Okay. So, actually, I'll send him a message. I'm gonna tell him here's the stream. Okay. I'm gonna read it again. Pale green and beige stalks grow thick and tall, resembling the surface world forest. Fungi grow in profusion everywhere, and it's hard to find anything resembling a path between them. The giant caps of zirkwood mushrooms obscure your view of the cavern's ceiling, but luminescent fungi there give off a shimmering aura. With each step taken on the soggy ground, a rank scent of decay rises around you. So you guys made it to the bottom where this fungal forest is at, and as you start going through, you see some areas are slightly different. Where some of these on the left side of the cavern, you see there's a part where the mushrooms have like these dense hanging vines. Um, uh, and then other parts, it doesn't have that vine growth. There are lots of insects, like beetles the size of a football. You see flies around the area. There are some mosquitoes, large mosquitoes, and dragonflies. You even do see some butterflies in this area. So they're like it's different insects. There's even like scorpion here or there just crawling around on the mushrooms, and small spiders. So it's very dense in insect life in this area. And as you're going through, uh, you probably go around 50 feet, and a large myconid starts approaching you guys, and he doesn't give off a very pleasant vibe. And he tells the myconids, he's bigger than the myconids that you're with. He's actually pretty large and pretty robust. Or this is probably like the biggest myconid you've ever seen. And he tells the myconid that's escorting you. He tells him, "What are you doing in my forest? You know better than to be in my forest." And he says that with his spores telepathically. And he doesn't look like he's buffing up, but he sounds very irritated. And he goes, the other one says, I'm bringing the softers into our celebration. I wanted to take them to go see Sovereign Philo, and to let them know that we have more guests um, for the celebration of the Great Cedar. And he goes, the tall Miknid, he says, take your servants out of my forest. You know better than being wandering in my side of the territory. And I'll take the softers with me to go see Sovereign Philo. And the other Myconid says, as you wish. And he tells you guys, well, I hope you enjoy your stay here in Neverlight Grove, and I'm going to go tend to my mound and my circle, my mound and circle. And you guys want to follow him, or do you want to stay with this large Myconid?
Well, the large mechanism said he's going to take us to the head guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'm going to elbow Rumpadump and ask him, who's this guy?
He says, this is Lubamub. He's the leader of the Circle of Hunters. And Lubamub, he says, yes. I'm the one in charge of taking care of the forest, and we also deal with whatever threats may be coming into our home. But I don't exactly get along with all the Mechanids over here. I, my views are different from some of the others over with us, with our community. Things have changed.
Why are they not allowed in?
They're changing the way our society works, and some of the Mechanids here seem a little off, and some of us are fearful of the change that's happening in our community.
Do you remember? I was going to say that. I'll wait.
Go ahead.
Well, basically, I'm just worrying about the time where was it the group that we found, where was it the Earth Mother and the other two and the other diverging culture?
I didn't understand that.
Well, remember we encountered a different group that was having the same problem.
Oh, that was when you ran into Stool and Rumpadump, and that's when Sereth left you guys, right? In the tunnels. Okay.
Well, no, I'm talking about the big village, where the lake and was it giant Earth Mother, whatever, giant turtle.
Oh, the Sea Mother.
And the culture. Yeah, I'm saying the culture was splitting, and I'm saying it sounds like this is the same thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, over there they had the ritual where the daughter was trying to summon the Sea Mother, and then the father was summoning the Deep Mother. Was it the other way around? I don't remember. No, the father was following the Sea Mother, and the daughter was trying to bring a new religion for the Deep Father, and the Deep Father ended up being Demogorgon.
Right.
Okay.
I'm saying is that could be happening here too.
Does this change have anything to do with this weird moss that's been growing everywhere?
Oh, you're asking him that, right?
Yeah.
He says, actually, if you can help us out, I'll tell you about that. Just follow me, and I'll lead you to the sovereign. And he says we do have two sovereigns here. We have Sovereign Philo, and he's been very ambitious with the celebration, and and then we do have the new sovereign, Sovereign Basidia, and they are kind of splitting the community into two, and it is not very comfortable for some of us. But as far as what you were talking about, as you guys are walking through, you're getting closer towards like the center of the cave of Neverlight Grove. He tells you, well, we do have a couple encounters in here that we have problems with. Whenever we rest and go into our melding cycle, there is a creature that comes in and he steals our servants and some of our making it spores, and it's a Grick it's a Grick alpha. If you can, I would like for you to kill it and then bring the carcass back to Sovereign Basidia. And as far as the moss, there is a shambling mound that is contaminating our soil, and it is too powerful for us to deal with it without losing more members of our community as during this time. If you can dispatch the Grick Alpha and the Shambling Mound for us, that
I
would
think
be.
we didn't we run across the shambling mound?
We did, but
Did
it's
we
doubtful.
kill it?
But it's what?
It's doubtful it's the same one.
He says you encountered one before.
Yeah.
Yes, several days travel from here.
Seems it might be a rising problem. And
It definitely is.
We also found near it several under creatures that look very similar to those things that were at the garden in our entrance. Those weird spores growing out of the back of their heads.
I don't know if it's the same as our servants or different, but it does sound interesting that you have taken note of it. And even Rumpadump, he says that they were contaminated by the moss that's been enveloping the area, and this moss, he picks it up from the ground. He goes, it is very dense outside of Neverlight Grove, and it kind of appears to be growing towards our community.
Either something's outside expanding, or something is inside attracting.
And he says, it's everywhere, you say? He goes, yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So
So
then our cave is in danger of this contamination. And as you start walking through, you get to the other side of the the fungal forest. And oh, I forgot to tell you. As you're walking through the forest, I did mention that there was water streaming down there. So some areas were actually flooded with like pools, and you did avoid most of the pools where you're gonna like be ankle deep in water, but some of them you could not help but avoid. So you did get your feet wet in some parts. And so beyond the mud and mushrooms that spread across the cavern, a large clear pool sits in the midst of the fungal grove. A central mound seems to be the only dry spot in sight, though a small cliff rises above the cavern floor across the clearing, with giant mushrooms visible in the distance. Bioluminescent fungi trace strange constellations along the cavern's ceilings and walls, showing the darkness of the ravine and the mist-shrouded smaller cavern beyond. And that was kind of like when I was explaining that there was the cave on the
Right.
another cavern with these like glowing veins going inside of it, going toward it. So at this mound that you see, that's the only dry spot. You're starting to see other mechanids are starting to circle around that area. Off to the right, you see there is another mound, and there are more mechanids surrounding that mound as well. And there are two large, very large mechanids. One of them has multiple mushroom stalks on its head, and the other one, uh, it's another large mechanid, but it has a single mushroom cap. And the one with um, multiple sprouts on his head, he comes up with arms open, and he's seems very excited to see you guys. He says, "Welcome to Neverlight Grove, Sosters. I am Sovereign Philo. If you need rest, food, water, and shelter, we are more than glad to offer um, to give you our offerings for your stay here at Neverlight Grove." And he says, "You have actually come at a great time. The Great Cedar is promising a great paradise for our grove, and the the joyous celebration is happening soon in the Garden of Welcome. Would you like to see the Garden of Welcome tomorrow? Or tomorrow, would you like to see the Garden of Welcome after you have rested?"
That
Sure,
would be,
we can
that would
take
be
a look.
nice.
And the other tall Mechanid right there, standing beside him, it you're guessing that it's the two sovereigns that Lumabob mentioned, the the master of the Circle of Hunters. He mentioned that
Mhm.
there was the new sovereign, and that one's name is Basidia. And Basidia, she says to Philo, "How come you're inviting to take the softers there when you've never invited me into the Garden of Welcome?" He goes, "Oh, it's a surprise for you. It's going to be great. Uh, I don't want to ruin I don't want to spoil the celebration for you by having you go in advance."
Insight check.
Go ahead.
Nah.
Would you roll?
Let me find it. Where to go? Insight. Oh, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Um, it's a wisdom insight.
I think so.
Okay, 11.
Insight is yes, yes, 11.
All right. And what are you trying to check for?
We're going to wind up on a dinner plate.
Sincere he is in his words.
Say that again.
I'm trying to see how sincere he is in his words. He's saying, "Oh, it's a surprise," and blah blah blah, and I'm like,
Well,
I
Is
want to
it?
make sure we're not going to wind up as dinner.
with your roll, yeah, you think he's sincere.
Okay.
If anybody else wants to roll insight, I guess you can too.
12.
Insight. Ooh, quite good.
Not good.
20 total.
Oh, okay. So you're getting the feeling that the sovereign Basidia is very uncomfortable with Philo's behavior. She seems stern and irritated, like Lumabob, while Philo's behavior is very energetic, very pleasing, and very positive. I guess I guess you can take your pick on who you feel you like and don't like, but that's what you can tell. You can tell that there is something going on between Basidia and Philo.
Yes, I want to make sure we don't wind up on the wrong end of the stick, if you know what I mean.
Well, what are you thinking then? You tell me.
Well, well, I'm just saying is if they're corrupted, if you remember the other village that we came across where the one group wanted to sacrifice us, and I'm going, if the corrupted impulse is reached here as possible, we might wind up as either sacrifices or mushroom food.
So, are you telling me you're trying to take a side right now?
Well, I'm trying to figure out which side, if it's positive, negative. If you remember the other group.
Well, what are you thinking? What's positive? What's negative?
All I'm just saying is that they might be genuinely happy to see us, and or we might wind up as mushroom food.
But which one's giving you that impression?
I'm not sure. It's just the general
Oh,
feeling.
okay.
Something is wrong, and I'm not sure what.
Okay.
And then, like I said, I'm getting a sensation that like the other group that we run across the other creatures.
Okay. Well, Sovereign Philo, when Basidia says that to him, he turns his attention back to you guys. He goes, "You are safe, friendly softers. You arrived at a wondrous time, for Neverlight Grove is on the verge of something great, something marvelous. Celebrate as the day of joy is nigh." And then he goes, "I'll see you tomorrow, and if you would like to see the Garden of Welcome, you will be honored guests." And then he starts walking
Okay.
away. And then Basidia, she just stands there. She looks at you, and then what's it called? Oh wait, I forgot. Before he walks away, he said that there was another group that came in ahead of you. There were some drow, and I had already taken them to see the Garden of Welcome, but they left about a week ago. And
Ah,
Okay.
you're thinking, well, if you guys want to roll a wisdom check on that, an insight.
well, that's. I think they're probably looking for us.
Going to anyhow.
What'd you say, guy?
I think they're looking for us.
There you go. Okay, you don't have to roll insight check. That's good. So Basidia, she says, "Oh, really? They left? I didn't uh account for them leaving." And Philo says, they decided to leave during the melding cycle when everyone was resting." She's like, "Oh, no wonder I didn't see them." And then that's when he says that you guys are safe here, you guys are welcome, and he'll show you the Garden of Welcome tomorrow if you would like. And he walks away. And Basidia, she tells you guys, "Well, it is good to see that you have brought Rumpadump and Stool with you. Stool, you have grown quite a bit." And then he says, um, "Yeah, yes, my companions here have looked after me and taken care of me, and uh, it's been quite an adventure getting over here." He says, "I've been to cities, I've been to other communities and learned more about races." And he says they have things like men and women uh, with their races, and whereas we don't. He goes, and then Basidia goes, "Interesting." And then Lumabob is standing right there too, and he says, "I did ask them for their help with the Grick wandering our forests and stealing our spores. I don't know if they will help us, but I did inform them about the dangers in my forest. And I also they did ask me about the moss that's growing in the area, and they informed us that this moss is everywhere, and it seems to be spreading, and it may be contaminating our community as well. And with that knowledge, I did tell them that we do have a shambling mound that is contaminating our soil, and it's exhausting our nutrients for our vegetation in our forest." And then Sovereign Basidia says, "Are you willing to handle these tasks for us?"
Yeah, we can give him a shot.
Um, Also, if you don't mind, I would like for you to take up that offer with um, with Sovereign Philo, to go to the Garden of Welcome.
What is the Garden of Welcome?
I don't know. They keep talking about it. They keep talking about
Who is the Great Cedar?
the Great Cedar. As she points up, she goes, "We have our huge mushroom. We have our huge mushroom, and it is called Yigmorgus, and it is like the legendary mushroom of all mushrooms. It is our holy ground. Um, that is where the Great Cedar is, but I don't know anything about the Great Cedar.
We were told that you're new to all of this. Why is that?
I'm not originally from Neverlight Grove. I had taken my society um, from the caverns, and we were kind of looking for a new place to live. And eventually, either once Sovereign Philo or I pass on, there's going to be a new sovereign. That's just the way it is in Mechanid life.
Is there normally two sovereigns?
Normally, there's one sovereign.
Then why is there two?
He was here before me.
So you were the sovereign of the other tribe. I gave you. They just kind of just let you be the sovereign.
Uh, they still allow my status amongst my people, but it is difficult. Um, the cycles have been changed over here. Normally, Mechanid congregate together in one large melding so that we may share our thoughts and experiences and feelings with each other. But there's been a new proposal by Sovereign Philo where he wants to have the masters of every circle join in their own. And he says that it's going to be a better melding for each group to have their own melding together. And all the masters, we do meld together with Sovereign Philo, but it's different because we don't get to meld with our own circle.
Mm-hmm.
And Lumabob says that is correct. Each circle is separate, so we share our concerns amongst each other, but the separation, we don't get a clear image of what everybody knows. So
Could this be in an attempt to hide something from the rest of you?
It could be. I don't
Definitely.
know. I don't know what the Garden of Welcome is. I don't know what the Great Cedar is either.
Have you ever heard of the Blood War?
No.
Hmm.
What is the Blood War?
I'm gonna look at everybody else and see what they. I'm gonna look for like, should I tell them without actually saying that? I'd be like,
I'd wait until we have privacy.
Well,
look what their expressions are.
The Cinnabok comes out of the sword, and when Basidia and Lumabob see Cinnabok, they're kind of like taking a step back because the Shadow Demon comes out.
Cinnamon roll, no one asked.
And he says, "Ooh, the Blood War. What do you know about the Blood War? Share the experience with us." And Basidia says, "This thing is with you."
Unfortunately.
And then the Shadow Demon circles around to Basidia, and she says, "These are my companions. They freed me from my prison, my entombment. But but I would love to tell you about the Blood War." And
not right now. We do not have time.
Yes, let us rest, and we.
When you say that,
Your word is long. It's a long tale.
When you say that, his arms slump down, and he's like, "Oh, you spoiled my fun," and then he goes back in the
It's a
sword.
long tale, and we do not have time at this moment.
And he goes back in the sword.
No one asked for you, Seminole. Go away.
Best, best,
Should have won.
best a tale told over drinks.
Okay. So
And a little privacy.
so
We need
go ahead.
We need rest.
All right. So the mound, you guys are at the mound for the Circle of Hunters, and Lumabob, he says you're more than welcome to rest on the highest point of this mound. That way, you can have a dry, comfortable rest. Stool and Rumperdump, please stay with this mound.
Water flood the valley?
Yes, the whole ground is moist, and you don't want to sleep on the floor. The top of this mound is like the driest area for you, unless you go up to one of the other terraces. But right now, you're not so sure if you're going to be allowed to go up there, especially with all the mechanids getting ready to go into their melding cycle.
Okay.
Weren't we supposed to protect them from a shambling mound when they're in their melding cycle?
Are you asking me or your companions?
Well, the companions.
I
If they're
don't know.
doing that.
All I know is that he said that there is a shambling mound that he asked us to take care of.
And another creature.
A Grick.
Yeah, I've never heard of one of them.
So he
You
said
also need to know what it looks like too.
he let you know that the Grick, it's a huge worm, a worm-like creature, and what he said was that when they're in their melding cycle, it takes their servants and eats them, and it also takes their myconid spores. So actually, with this mound, you see small myconids and then tall myconids, but they're not as big as the masters, and the sovereigns are bigger than the masters.
Right.
Unfortunately, I mean, they've been dealing with it for this long. One more night, they're just going to have to deal with it. We can't handle it. We're low on spells and health, and
Sovereign Basidia says, go ahead and take your rest, and tomorrow I'll introduce you to the other circles.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
So, you're gonna get your rest. You're gonna take a long rest, short rest,
Long
rest. Okay.
Long rest so I can recover all my spells.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Leonardo, are you still hurting? Are you still have hit points?
Yes. Down 14.
He'll be able to heal overnight, though. He'll be able to heal on the rest.
Well, we've got Song of Rest.
you guys
Not allowed.
For everybody.
eat too? You guys eat too?
Yeah, whatever we. Yeah.
All right. So you hear that singing. It's kind of nonstop, and that's off in the far cavern where that giant mushroom head is at. Oh, my back is hurting.
No.
Okay. Okay. So the next day comes, and well, yeah, the next day comes, and what's it called? When you guys wake up, there's murmurs from the myconids talking about more spores. More myconid spores have been taken. You see that the servants, the drow servants and the quagga servants, they're not going on this side of the cavern. They stay on the terraces, and it's like a weird segregation going on between them and the Circle of Hunters Mound. And Basidia comes to you and she says, "Are you guys well rested?"
Yes.
Yeah.
So did I get, did
My
I get all my hit
exhaustion.
points back?
Yeah, you get
Over.
your hit points back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Use your hit die.
I'm exhausted too. Let me stretch out. My back is killing me. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh.
Sure.
Hmm?
Do you want to just stop for the night? It's 9 o'clock. We're at a good stopping point. I mean, I know we kind of got started a little late. Actually, we got started a little bit early, actually, but I know we had a few hiccups with getting the Discord running, but
You don't
we're at
want
a really.
to fight
Well,
the shambling mound again?
I do. I just don't want to rush it into. I don't want it to get to be like 10:30 and everyone's feeling kind of like crap because it's late and everything. I want to like if we're about to get into a fight here real soon, then maybe we should do it fresh next week.
Okay.
well, before we do that, I'd like to make a couple things. Find out if anybody needs some armor or weapons or whatever in the group.
It's
Okay.
really also an exciting episode for YouTube or anything, but
Do that plate armor for Cliff.
Yeah.
Do that. What else do you want to make?
Well, does anybody else need armor? Because, like you said, I've got the raw stock to make the armor with.
No, I'm good with my my studded leather.
I could use a set of plate armor, but it's really not that important. It only gives me one more AC, and it's just not.
Well, how many things can you make in one rest? One? Okay, so then you just make the
Probably
armor
just
for
one set
Cliff.
of armor. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, like I said, if we have another rest, then I can make another set of armor for somebody else.
Okay. I'm gonna do some more descriptive stuff for Neverlight Grove.
Yeah, I feel like we need to do some research still.
I've believe it or not, I've read this chapter like 10 times, and then like, man.
Yeah, I think you read it 9 times too many.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I do. I read the chapters. Okay, I read them a long time ago, and then I read them again. Like I read it last week, and I read it the week before last week, thinking you were gonna get here sooner. But
Right.
Yeah.
but like now that we're actually here at Neverlight Grove, I don't want to. I didn't want to make it dry. I hope I.
No. It hasn't been dry. It's been interesting.
Okay.
Yes.
So I did want to have you guys fight the rocks, but at the same time, I didn't want them to pick you up and then drop you in the chasm while they put you to sleep or something, you know?
Yeah, that would be very uncomfortable.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? You could have though. It could have just. Don't be
Yeah.
like I said before.
Or
Don't
just-
be kill party members. You know it happens.
Or just take us up 100 feet and drop us a couple of times.
Well,
That happens.
what's it called? Yeah, the rocks. All they gotta do is just let out their dust from their feathers, and then you guys go to sleep. Like, and then they pick you up and carry you off. And if one of them came there was 6 in the area. If one of them came there and saw you, it would have attracted the other ones, and then that would have been a deadly encounter.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't
So they're
cheat.
like,
I didn't cheat. I tried to, like, how do you say?
oh, no problem.
I didn't give anything to you guys, is what I'm saying.
I heard you rolling the perception rolls for the
Mhm.
rocks.
Yeah, I did. I rolled perception rules, and I rolled a 7. All right. Good night, you guys.
Okay, good
Hi.
night.
Okay, have a good evening.
Hey, Chris, do you play Neverwinter?
I haven't played it in years and years.
When you did play it, how far did you
Okay.
get?
I honestly probably not very far. I wasn't huge in D&D back when it came out.
Hmm.
Unless I'm thinking of a different Neverwinter. Which one are you talking about?
Yeah.
James, hold on.
The game Neverwinter, the character builds are not fantastic because it's very linear. It's an MMO, but
Well,
the stories of Out of the Abyss, it's in there, and I'm like, what? So I sent you some messages on PSN with some pictures.
Yeah, I saw the picture of
like the Drow
the
City. And
yeah.
now that I'm playing the game, I could describe everything a whole lot better. At least I hope I can. Like Gracklstaugh, I under detailed Gracklstaugh only because I didn't know the visuals of it. I tried to go off of the book, and then I read like several of these books for Gracklstaugh. That's why it lasted so long. But I feel like I under detailed Gracklstaugh with its structures because everything was supposed to be large, cavernous, blocky, big thrones, big statues. Everything was like exaggerated sizes.
I mean, that's how I imagined it.
Oh, okay, good.
In my own picture, it was just a big, huge kind of cave, darkish, and yet at the same time, rocky and dwarvenish, because that's what they were, right? They were dwarves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to play through this game because I want to experience Demogorgon on the video game and the other ones. But dude, it's
Yeah, I don't
good.
know. I don't know when I last played it, and I do know that like I played Temple of Elemental Evil too when it came out, and I only got like maybe a tenth of the way through it
Oh,
because it just the combat was just bad.
I'm 75% through it. 75% through Elemental Evil, and
Oh.
I have the book of it. But from what I understand, a lot of people didn't really like the adventure of Temple of Elemental Evil or the Horde of the Dragon Queen. Um, what?
Like the campaign,
Yeah, the D&D books.
right?
I haven't played them. I started playing. I think it was Horde of the Dragon Queen with a guy a long time ago. But I didn't really get very far.
Sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, you were running Princes of the Apocalypse. Is that what you were running? It's when I first met you, and there was Sarah, there was Eric,
Yeah,
there was those other girls. But I
it
mean,
might have been something like. Oh goodness, might have been one of the free versions of the first chap 3 chapters of a book.
oh okay. But after
I think it might have been this one.
yeah, after the reviews of them, Princes of Apocalypse and Horde of the Dragon Queen and Elemental Evil, a lot of people didn't like it. So I was wondering, I'm not, I don't know how I'm doing as a DM, but
Oh, you're doing great.
after this, would you want to try some of those, even though you guys might know the story already?
Oh yeah,
Well, you can always change the story.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, these books are written so generally. No two DMs are going to run it the same way.
Yeah.
Okay, because
It's not.
The two parties are going to go through it the same way. They're always going to make different decisions.
yeah,
Yeah.
Elemental Evil is so all over the place that a lot of people complained about getting lost, not knowing what to do or how to throw the hook in there. But I figure if now that I'm playing the game and I see how it is, I could probably get a grasp on it to have a leading direction or an order of direction for Elemental Evil.
Right.
I mean,
Now, that's why it's called evil, because it's an evil book to DM.
but I don't want to say like what's it called? If you guys have other plans, I don't want to take up other plans for the next campaign. But if it's open, I wouldn't mind continuing
Right
on.
now, it's back into the shop, and we can really,
Oh, once
figure
we're
out who's
yeah,
going to run next.
yeah,
Well,
once
the
we're at
major
the
problem.
once we're at the store, I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
And maybe
Well, the
and
only
maybe
question
find
was-
somebody else.
Because I know that Tim is definitely wants to come back and play again, but I also know that his home work life schedule is kind of a mess.
Who?
Tim.
Oh,
He wants to come back and run his campaign again.
yeah. That's what I didn't want to take away from you guys either, cause like I don't mind playing a DM. I want to get as much practice as I could because since I have all these books, I might as well use them.
Right.
I don't mind not being a player, but at the same time, I don't want to take away your guys' plans for Tim's campaign either. And
Well, I also think that as a players that changing up our DMs occasionally it makes the
I-
games more fun. Playing the game with the same, playing different games with the same DM over years gets a little monotonous, because you get kind of used to that DM style. And getting a new DM is always good because it brings a fresh perspective to the table for a little bit.
Well,
Okay.
the other
Yes.
idea I was having about DMing is a friend of mine was running Champions, a different game, and there was two GMs. One was for like crunching the numbers, which I think would be easier, and one was a storyteller. I think that would be a good
Right.
idea for trying it in D&D.
Right.
I
But
mean,
right now, we do not have enough people for doing that.
How does that work
Well,
though?
Well, basically, it's like one person would keep track of the initiatives and the basic stuff, and the other guy would tell a story.
it was basically like one was the DM. It was like there was a DM and a DM's assistant.
Correct.
There you go.
That kind
Kept track of combat, and the other person kept track of the story.
that almost tells me like if you got into a combat sequence that the storyteller doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, the storyteller tells a story. The other GM keeps track of like people's initiative rolls and saving throws and all the other, the monsters and all that crap. Basically the number crunching. So you don't have to worry about,
And the monster
You know,
swings and misses, or the monster
or-
swings and
and hits.
splats you in the head.
I tried to do a game that had two DMs, but it was two DMs and separate parties.
Well, if you look at if you go online to YouTube, they talk about that. If we had 16 people, we could have 4 groups.
That's
You know.
different though. That's
But I'm
My-
saying,
Mine was going to be
you-
protagonists versus antagonists. So one group was going to run the evil team. One DM was going to run the evil group, and the one DM was going to run the good group. The good group was fighting against the evil group to prevent them from doing what they were doing. That was the concept. It never panned out. I never got enough people or another DM, but I always thought it was an interesting idea.
that
well,
that sounds
I'm
like
thinking about-
that's gonna when they get into their battles, it's gonna be the party runs into each other first
Well-
time and people are gonna die.
No, it's one of those things where you coordinate with everybody, and you just have a monster mash night, where everybody comes to the table at the same time, and they do. You literally have a fight between the two parties, and you just have the DMs kind of referee everything. It's doable.
Yeah, but let's say somebody worked hard on the character, then bam, they get murdered.
Well, that's
or like
Sorry.
let's say everybody from that other team gangs up on me to wipe me out, and then they go after everyone afterwards, but the other people survive it, and then I died because I was the focus of attack.
Well,
Well, basically, we'd have to work as a team, but make sure that they don't overwhelm one character.
That isn't
Well, no.
working in a team. That's the smart way to do it. Have one
Yes,
team attack
it is.
one person, wipe them out, take out the healer.
Well,
Wipe out that, yeah. Wipe out the artillery, then wipe out the healers, and then you wipe out everybody else.
Yes, but unfortunately, you have to remember fire's coming back their way too.
Oh, on Neverwinter, people are asking me, because I made a devout cleric, which is strictly healing. Like, he's not a damage dealer at all. He's just strictly healing. They asked me,
Right.
why did you make a devout cleric? And I said, because I don't want to die. They go, I've never heard that before. I'm like, what other reason is there?
Yeah.
All right, you guys. You guys have a
All
good
right, guys.
night.
You
Good night.
too.
Okay, you too. Okay, Frank. I'm trying to get this thing, and it's just